At first glance, this looks like every other stick and tin bunkhouse, but the longer you look at it, the better it gets. Welcome everybody, Josh RV. I looked like I did a Jedi mind trick on you right there. Not quite capable. Welcome everybody. Josh RV, nerd of Bish's RV, down here at Grain Design, taking a look at this new model right here. You know, if we give this the base descriptors, it's a private true queen bedroom, which is nice, but it's a private queen bed, super slide bunkhouse camper with double over double bunks. Like, oh my gosh, there's hundreds, literally, of other campers that fit that description. The devil in this one is absolutely in the details. If you're a first-time RVer, you probably won't even notice how different it actually is. But like if you're a person who's an experienced camper, you're gonna look at this and be like, ah, I actually really like that. I think, at least I really like this thing. So again, true queen bedroom is really nice. Carpetless floor flush rack and pinion slide. Awesome. It doesn't have a lot of campsite windows. Unless you extend the RV about another 2 feet, that's just not possible. I'll get into that later, maybe. We have the option for some nice seating solutions, not just a generic jackknife sofa. We also, of course, have the double over double bunks. There's some nice outside storage below those. I do personally appreciate the direct entry bathroom. I feel like that's a feature that is finally starting to make a little bit of a comeback in the RV industry, and it feels weird to first-time RVers, but it is so helpful for cutting down dirty foot traffic from the kids through the camper. But where this one kind of gets me is how I feel they kind of fixed the entertainment center. Straight across from the sofa is an area where if you choose to bring a TV, you have the perfect spot to do it. And if you don't, they gave you an extra campsite window to keep an eye on the kids and some very valuable big counter space that would be perfect for some extra appliances. There's some really cool features here that I think really separate this one out from the pack for me. And going back to kind of how this video began, at a glance, this is going to look like at a knee jerk, you're like, oh, it's another one of those. But the more you look at this, the more you realize it's almost a flip-flop inverse version of this bunkhouse. Now, did you notice real quick right there how the color kind of shifted on camera? So that's kind of a good example of how mine especially, but some cameras don't see it the same as the naked eye. So if you're like, I don't like the colors, well, check it out in person real quick before you make that kind of final judgment on something. What I want to kind of point out here is, like any RV, it has its positives and negatives. It's not trying to be the be-all, end-all. Like, I love the fact that they gave us big windows. I like the fact that all the windows open for airflow, including slide side windows, which at this price point is not something that you often receive. There's not a lot of windows on the campsite of the RV because, like, I'm standing at the position of the entry door. Notice how I'm standing directly in front of the dinette? You can't flip the camper because you can't move the door. So that's why we don't have a lot of campsite windows unless you add 2 extra feet to the RV. But carpetless, floor flush, super slide. There's a couple other kind of pet friendly features on here. The cabinet like handles feel a little more pet collar friendly as well. But I like how they kind of more clearly defined the kitchen versus the living area in this RV. And that right there is the subtle, but I think really critical nuance that helps define this camper. Because you walk into the kitchen space, but then there's a dedicated living area behind you. Now, a couple things here to kind of think about. The way they have this one laid out, there's a reason I really like this. Because if I'm having a couch potato kind of day, now don't get me wrong, I don't go camping to sit on the sofa and watch TV all the day, but everybody camps differently. So just for the people who maybe you feel like having a couch potato day, there is an outside fridge, but if drinks or snacks get low and the kids or people come in and out, they don't have to cross your field of view while you're enjoying some entertainment from the sofa, either a hide-a-bed or this shockingly nice power theater seat right here. Now, by default, TV doesn't come with this because it is designed to be more of a basic bunkhouse camper. But it is kind of begging you to throw it in there. This is actually a floor plan that I think solves the entertainment challenge very well. And I was actually quite surprised to see they even threw the electric fireplace in here. I think it's because behind it is your outdoor griddle and fridge. So they had this extra weird shallow spot of space inside and they didn't want to waste it. But this whole area that we're basically looking straight at, I think is, again, one of the best parts of this camper where someone actually really thought about it. Having this extra counter space, you can always find something to use with counter space. I could see this being an area where you have griddles or coffee makers, toasters, air fryers set up. This could be the kids' gaming station, depending on what you allow them to do. The power outlets over there, perfect. The extra campsite window, yes. Like there's some really good things going on over here. But every RV has its advantages and drawbacks. I like the big 12-volt compressor fridge. That's very welcome. I like the fact that they went taller cabinets. Now, it's not an extra tall ceiling RV, so keep that in mind. I also want to point out, like when I first walked into this, I looked at this wall, this island wall on right at the foot of the true queen size bed, and I knee-jerked and thought, oh, it's just that classic stupid 90-degree neck-wrecker entertainment center. And then I got further into it and I discovered the entertainment things that I've already discussed with you. And I started to realize that is like basically just bonus kind of pseudo kitchen storage, but also just a little welcome back bar. A place where you can walk in, set down some keys or whatever, you know? That's just a really useful utility space that also does have the dual sliding privacy doors to close off the true queen bedroom. Now, I'm glad right from the factory level, this is a true queen bed, because if it wasn't, it could be a problem. And what I want to point out here is I'm going to move you real slow. I try not to jerk the camera around to make you motion sick, but you'll notice how the bed comes basically right up to the sliding privacy doors. But this is a true queen mattress. If this was a short queen, I don't know that you'd be able to shove a true queen in here, so you don't have that challenge on this one. It does still have the easy lift storage trunk below it. It doesn't have side dresser drawers. Instead, you have what I call the elephant enema pockets. Because if you reach all the way up in there, you're going to be up to your armpit like you were a zookeeper. You know, taking care of an elephant. I prefer enclosed overhead cabinet storage, but at least they put that bar right there to make sure that stuff doesn't like fall out at you. Now this looks like another hanging wardrobe in front of those little power pockets over there. That is actually extra dresser space. Not a lot of hanging clothing storage in this one right here. Although I have noticed they have actually put a very good lighting package in here. Couple crazy RV construction facts. The total cost of materials and installation and whatnot for windows and lights, they're actually the two generally most expensive things in an RV. So if you want your RV to look the same as somebody else but cost a lot less, you take out the windows and you take out a bunch of lights. And there's a lot of the RVs in the industry today that do exactly that right there. So you know, it's kind of your choice how you choose to purchase something and what you choose to purchase. Now, over here around the corner, these peninsula-style countertops give you some extra space, which is nice. And I think that they handled this one very well. But it means that there's some new opportunities for like new storage areas. Right here, they just did a little pet-friendly thing, but those are removable little dishes. So if you don't have a dog or if you don't want to use those or you don't want to leave them in there, you can get them pulled out of the way. And sometimes it's the dumbest little features that get me the most excited. A dedicated trash can space. Why more RVs don't do this, I don't know. But that left them this funny little spot over here. I don't know. What would you, that kind of vertical space, normally, I would say, oh, that would go really good for like baking sheets. But this camper doesn't have an oven. Nor will it. It's not even an available option. Not a propane oven, not an electric oven. You have a propane cooktop right there. You have an electric microwave, but it's not like one of the air fryer convection multifunction wombo combos I often talk about. You do have propane cooking outside as well. So you know, a couple, I don't know, might work for you, might not kind of thing. Let me get that out of the way a little bit so you have a little bit better look at the freezer drawer. Also, over here in the kitchen, you saw the couple big drawers. I had pulled out essentially the one silverware, flatware drawer they have. There's just a couple extra shelves down below there. I didn't want to waste the opportunity to point all that out for you. Additionally, something else I don't know that I've overtly pointed out, both of the dinette ends do have doors for some easy access. Now, remember, it is what I call a true U dinette, so it is closer to like 7 foot long. Which, you know, if you go back to the earlier footage, the flyby footage I did, that can fold down into a solid additional sleeper. If I had to, yeah, I could probably make do on that thing for the night. Me and my wife, I don't think she would like that. I wouldn't mind, but I don't think she would like that. Now, this is not one of their wider 3-seat theater seats, so it looks like it does have that hard fixed middle armrest in it, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it is what it is. Now, over here in the bunk area, they had an opportunity, so again, they didn't waste it. They threw some storage down there below it, made it easy to reach. I appreciate that each bunk has its own light. You might notice there's no curtains here, but here's the thing people don't think about a lot of times on RV double over double bunkhouses. Most of the time you're camping in the summertime when your kids are out of school and you're running that air conditioner. If you have a curtain closing those bunks off, the bottom bunk usually doesn't get any airflow. So that won't be a problem here. It won't turn into an oven down there baking your child overnight, you know. There's also, we already kind of saw, like, you haven't really seen a normal dedicated thing we would point at and say, it's got a pantry. Well, this one does. But notice how they put a couple different separate doors on it. That sounds like a minor stupid thing to point out. But what that means is that the door's not getting torqued so hard when the kids reef it open. And notice, too, where they put the door handles, generally where the little kids could reach it. And by segmenting it, maybe you use part of it for kid dresser storage and part of it for pantry storage. And then maybe you keep some, I don't know, adult libations in the back of that top cabinet or something. I'm not sure. All right, moving on from there. You might have noticed the entry door to the camper has a full viewing window. So does the one in the bathroom. And although it's privacy shade prepped, it does not include a privacy shade, which is not a feature that I personally really like about it. Now, if you look over on the right-hand side of the screen, you see these big, deep, kind of like linen pockets. When I say deep, I mean take a look at the left side of the screen. You can see my arm sticking in there, and I mean deep. But we also have a lot of space around that toilet. Now, it feels kind of funny being on that toilet right next to a door. You feel maybe a little exposed. But remember, it does have a deadbolt. And remember, this is a 6.5-foot ceiling height. So when I'm in that shower, my head's absolutely in the bubble, wearing my shoes a little bit over 6 foot tall myself. Hopefully, I can't talk. Hopefully, the little toilet selfie champion stuff I do there is actually useful. Because when you're camping, I really recommend actually getting in the RV and trying it on for size. Now, flipping around the other direction in the bathroom here. Basic, but functional medicine cabinet. I'm fighting off a sneeze. Something I'm trying to remember more often is to take a look at plumbing things for you. If you look down here, a lot of times the moment somebody sees a flex line, they have a heart attack. It's the connections that kind of make the difference here. Notice how it's a purpose-made line. It's not a flex line crimped to a PEX fitting. Everything else is all PEX on PEX, and this is the most basic water system. This is the most basic camper that Grand Design has. So this is what they do across the board. Now, from the rear door straight to the bedroom or bathroom, we can get to the bunks, we can get to the kitchen, we can get to the sink, we can get to the fridge. But because of the interaction between the dinette and the peninsula right there, this one does have what I call 2-stage travel access. So you will need to utilize both entry doors to get to everything, essentially, like our bedroom up front here. Now, one other thing I kind of forgot to point out, you might have noticed it, but the location of the converter fuse box, it's very easy to access, obviously, but it's in a very visible zone, so I don't think the kids are going to be inclined to mess with it. And if you do need to change a fuse, you can kind of do what I'm doing, where you can sort of stand outside and not have to belly crawl to this thing. Now, I think one of the potential points of consideration on this RV you really want to look at, a lot of people will just look at a one-slide bunkhouse like this and say, oh, my half ton will tow that, right? And most places will just say, give me your money, and I'll say yes. I looked at this one a little closer because that was my knee-jerk feeling. It's over 31 feet tip to tail. It's slightly longer when you build it this way, as opposed to the versions with the Neckwrecker Entertainment Center to the left of the slide or whatever. But I think it's a better floor plan. The thing is, it's a little bit longer and a little bit heavier. And I really respect that Grand Design didn't try to chintz out on the cargo capacity on this one. This has some really good cargo capacity. Holy crap, really good awning space too. Wow, I just realized that. But what I'm getting at, you're gonna need more truck. If you are flatland towing short distances and have a very capable half ton, I squirm when I say, okay, if you're going to be doing anything more intensive than that, I think you should step your vehicle up. That's my 2 cents. Do with that information what you will. Now, both entry doors are treated the same, which is actually kind of cool. You've got the stable steps on both sides, although this floor plan got caught in a tricky spot where a quad step was going to be too long and a triple step, the bottom step kind of sits up really high, so it's just kind of one of them things. Got the drunken uncle leash latch over here, which also can be a Barley Poppinator 9000 series, and both doors have the bigger folding handles, which is nice, and both doors have the very smexy looking glass entry door. It looks very cool, but in direct hot sunshine, it's crazy hot. Ask me how I know. Like, I thought I turned into Will Smith from Men in Black and burned my fingerprints off one time messing with one of those things. So make sure you tell the kids to kind of be careful, okay? Because this is a bunk model. We do have, it's a singular outside speaker look, but it's actually a dual speaker. There actually are 2 elements. There is a left-right element right here. So some campers will have your outside speakers like 30 feet apart. So like when the solo for Freebird kicks in, you can't hear it because it's only playing in the back of the camper. You know, you're hearing it in mono and you're like, wow, I guess the rhythm guitar player is really rocking, but I was waiting for that epic solo. Well, you won't have that problem here. And it's low enough, you won't blow the neighbors away. So I don't mind this setup. Also, under that entertainment utility bar, basically, that's where they shove that little mini camp kitchenette. Perfect little spot for that, I think, under the awning very nicely. Also, between the fridge and the direct entry bathroom, you have virtually eliminated the need for the kids to track their dirty piggies in and out of the camper. She is backup camera prepped, if you would be so inclined. Also, it is ladder prepped, although the ladder is not included. It is a walkable roof, by the way. Oh, hey, hello, motion light in that little outside storage compartment. This is a kind of a bunk arrangement they seem to be kind of copying and pasting through the Transcend family, which I think is kind of cool. I think it works pretty well. The bonus storage is always nice. You see that you do have a gas and electric water heater just behind the rack and pinion super slide. And if this is a little too long for you, if you don't mind deleting one seat, either the sofa or the dinette, take a look at the 23, I think it's called BHX up there. It's just under 27 feet instead of just under 32 feet and is otherwise almost the exact same camper. So if this is just a smidge too big for you, you're going to be good to go. I was afraid they were going to do that. Okay, this is a 2-headed sewer monster. Crap. So the back sewer hookup is going to be our bathroom black and gray. This is our kitchen gray, but they are 2 separate gray tanks. So if you look at the holding tank capacities on this one, if you look at that chart I left you down the video description, the gray water is going to look out of control compared to the other 2 because it's 2 equally sized but separate gray tanks. Also, not a lot of other stick and tin campers giving us an enclosed docking center like this. Now, it's a very basic one, but some level of, control and closure is nice. Now, big front pass-through, picnic table included with this one, which is also a nice little thought, care, and consideration feature that they've applied here. Overall, I'm not upset with it. By the way, Uncle Josh's pro tip of the day. It's super overcast today. I'm still slathered up in sunscreen. What you don't realize is the UV rays still penetrate the clouds. You can still get crazy sunburn even on an overcast day like this. So plan ahead. Don't get skin cancer, guys. That's very real. As I've gotten older, I've started to care more about stuff like this, but now with a wife and kid, maybe I don't know, I have more to live for. Not sure. Regardless, waxing poetically about life. Take a look at the links in the video description. You get an idea of pricing and availability there. Although sometimes with Grand Design, we're not able to display our discounted sale price that we ask, only MSRP. So keep in mind, we might have a better price than what the website shows. It's a stupid thing we have to do. And I'll leave you some links to some other double over double super slide private bedroom bunkhouses, some of which are really nice. I kind of like this one, but that's just me. What do you think about it? I don't know. Next time, or we'll see you next time. All right. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.